Hi, I'm Riley McManus. Welcome to Word for Word, where we offer you an in-depth look at some of our interviews with newsmakers from across the region. You'll have the opportunity to hear word for word how they responded to the news of the day. Thunder Bay's new year-round tennis center is one step closer to reality, and the Dome facility will be sponsored by a Canadian media giant. Rogers Communications and Tennis Canada are providing funding to the Community Tennis Center, which hosted a soil turning event yesterday morning.
Eva, why is this an important day for not only Thunder Bay, but for Tennis Canada?
We do not have enough of these facilities coast to coast. We know this as a sport and as an organization, and so it's such an important day because we're just inching forward in our strategy to say we need more year-round facilities. We need tennis to be able to be played year-round. It's a sport that is for all ages, all stages, all communities, and so this is just a step to make that dream a reality.
Obviously, larger cities already have indoor courts, but for a city the size of Thunder Bay, why is it important for Tennis Canada to have these across the country?
Well, I think this is what people assume, is that there's more of these facilities than there actually are. So as I stated in my remarks, there's actually only 750 of these in the country. So it's 50,000 people per facility. It's just not enough. And so whether it's Thunder Bay, Toronto, Edmonton, Vancouver, like we need more of these. And so for Thunder Bay particularly, I mean, we saw it today being outside, right? We're all cold. And for the kids and for even the adults and the retirees, everybody, to have a place to go indoors through this winter, to be active and to stay healthy, it's critical.
And when you come to kind of higher level players, how important is it to have all those extra months to be able to practice?
You can't succeed in any sport. It doesn't matter. If you're not able to train and compete year round, you won't make it to the top. And so we know that. We've been fortunate through really good strategy about 25 years ago to create centers in Montreal and Toronto where we bring the best of the best in to train year round. But without those centers, we wouldn't have had it. So we need more of these because talent is everywhere in this country. It's not just in the big metropolitan cities. It's everywhere. And so we need to find the kids in Thunder Bay that also have the talent to be our next gen high performance athletes.
This has been a several-year process to get to this point. Can you just talk about some of the partnerships that are in effect and just how Tennis Canada is able to support this with a corporate partner like Rogers?
Yeah, I mean, Rogers has been a partner of Tennis Canada for a long time, and so they loved this. They are all about community. They saw the opportunity to get involved in this project in particular with Tennis Canada, but you need government, so you need the levels of government, you need municipalities, you need the federal government, you need the provincial government. Like, this is a joint effort to make this happen. These projects aren't, they're not cheap, but they're a strategic investment, and so that's why getting all the different partners, corporate Canada, the nonprofit national sport organization, the different levels of government to come together and say, this is good for communities, this is good for our citizens of all ages, and so I think this is so special what's happening here.
What have you seen for support from the tennis community in Thunder Bay for this project?
I mean, even just last night, they were out in droves, like there's an excitement for this. And even you heard the mayor make the remarks that usually every year they see the courts flooded with rain and then it's snow, and like there's excitement to make this happen, and so I'm so excited for this community.
I guess speaking of talent, I know important for Thunder Bay for youth to grow their skills here, but bringing in talent to Thunder Bay, is this exciting for not only tournaments for people from Toronto to come here to compete?
Yeah, like we are literally on the precipice of building out our pipeline. Like we need more kids in tennis in the pipeline. We've got Layla, Bianca, Felix, Dennis, we've got them. They're now sort of at the top of their game. Who's next? And so without having facilities, without having different communities on board, like we will struggle. And we already know that we're tapped out on our competition system. Like we are struggling to run our domestic competition schedule because we just need more of these facilities year round to do it.
Anything you like to add?
No, just thank you for today. This has been fun. Like, as I said, this is literally the first announcement we've done, which is truly outdoors, and it just really makes everyone know and feel why we need to do this. Like, it's a cold day, but so excited to have this up and running in the future.
Just an absolute fantastic day. We've been building for this for like over 7 years, I think. So to be able to have, number one, continued year-round play is fantastic. You look at all ages, seniors, adults, juniors, to provide opportunities for everyone to play tennis and develop and be successful. The other thing is for the club to have year-round programming, never have a cancellation again. It's just going to be absolutely fantastic.
What does it mean to grow the game of tennis here? I mean, it seems like with such a short season, you'll gain momentum through the summer, and then September, October hits, and then people have to take months off. Do you think this can help get more people introduced to the sport?
I think so for sure. I mean, so many times you get people, they get involved, they're out here in the summertime, they're loving it, and then it ends, and then they move on to other things, right? So a lot of times people just don't even, they don't come back, they pick up on something else that they can do, and then, so I think it'll be huge. And again, once people get playing, if you want to think about it, when you play in the summertime, that's like 3 years of play. You need 3 summers to get to where you'd be at 1 year. So it's just going to be a really big advantage for everyone, and keeping a healthy, active community as well.
What does this mean for junior development as well? So that way some of the young kids you have who are looking at potential competitive futures in the sport aren't at a disadvantage behind some of their peers.
Yeah, I mean, even with the facilities we had at the college, I mean, they weren't superb by any stretch. So the very little that we did over there, we actually had a lot of successful kids, Shaylin Proud, Jordy Matson, and others like that. Brendan Boudreau played college tennis and stuff like that. So we had a lot of kids that were able to make that jump to college tennis and get some assistance and all that sort of thing as well. So, I mean, now with this facility, the sky's the limit, really.
And I mean, obviously there's a community fundraising component to this as well. How has that gone, and how do you think that signifies the support that this project has?
I mean, it's huge. Sort of when we started out, we set some goals, and to be quite honest with you, I was like, wow, that's a lot of money we're going to have to fundraise. But obviously with the Rogers Dome Tennis Canada contribution, I mean, that's a huge input to our fundraising. So with all the levels, we have 1.5 million from the city, 1 million NOHFC, 500,000 FedNor, 200,000 Tennis Canada, and we've fundraised over 300,000 within the community itself, membership and businesses. So it's just a huge effort to have over 3.5 million to get this thing built. And again, as soon as we get our agreements finished with the city, then we can go ahead with really planning to get this thing done this summer.
And I guess obviously it's too cold to dig anything right now, but is there any steps or at least timelines for construction or anything right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're still working on, like I said, working on those agreements, but once they're in place, the facility was actually totally rebuilt in 2010. And that the timeline on the courts and rebuilding was really about, from start to finish when they got going, was about 2 months. So this is a very, it's a pretty simple project to get completed in the timeline that we have. And then again, the big one is getting the bubble manufacturer prepared and ready to have everything ready to go in September.
I guess just one question, is there any fear of having another bubble? Last time we had a bubble pop because of snow, is that a fear at all?
No, you know what? The majority of bubbles that do have issues are the larger domes. So as soon as you start having that big, huge width in some domes, there could be problems. They do take things into consideration. The dome that we're going to build is going to be a little bit higher to make the sidewall steeper, and the curvature of a tennis dome because of the width. Most of the time, the snow falls off. I remember being at the college during big blizzards, and you'd hear and the snow would come off, right? So, yeah, not really concerned for us. It does happen, but again, if that were an issue, it's a repair and get it back up again.
The provincial government is expanding cancer coverage for firefighters to make it easier to access compensation for thyroid and pancreatic cancers. City Fire Chief Greg Hankio says the expansion will make a significant impact for those who develop occupational cancer.
I welcome the expanded coverage under the presumptive legislation for firefighter cancers. I think it's an important and proper move for the government to make. Really essentially with the goal being to provide treatment and recovery for our firefighters that develop cancer in the line of duty.
How much of an impact will this make?
Yeah, I think it'll make a significant impact for those that develop cancer, occupational cancer in the line of duty. So, keeping in mind that firefighters have a 4 times greater chance of developing cancer than general population, and recognizing that the World Health Organization has identified firefighting as a high-risk occupation, one of the highest risk occupations for developing cancer. This is really about providing the appropriate treatment, care, for the firefighters, and in the unfortunate event that they pass away, providing financial support for their families as well.
And I guess also locally, in terms of thyroid and pancreas cancer, how often has that been seen, I guess, over the last few years?
Yeah, I don't have any specific details on the number of claims that would have been made with respect to thyroid or pancreatic cancer, but what I would anticipate is, now that there is a presumptive legislation in place that deals with those two types of cancers, dating back to 1960, we may see some claims coming forward in the not too distant future.
And those are all the questions I have. Is there anything else you would like to add that we haven't touched on?
No, other than, again, the work that firefighters do, in spite of the personal protective equipment we have, decontamination procedures, standard operating procedures. The reality of it is that they're still put at a significant level of risk for developing cancer. And this change to the legislation really recognizes that and provides care in that regard.
Well, it was a disappointing end to the LU hockey season on Saturday night, as the Thunder Wolves fell to the Stingers in the bronze medal game at Fort William Gardens. The Wolves had a chance to punch their ticket to the Nationals in PEI, but were simply outmatched in a 4-0 defeat.
Coach Wilkins, can we get your thoughts after that tough loss?
Yeah, it's obviously a tough loss. Really good team, Concordia. I think they're have as good a chance as anybody to win the national tournament. We knew that they were going to be good coming in. I thought as the game went on, they showed how good they were in the O-zone. We had the one kill after the first goal when it was 1-0 still, and then that second one was a tough one. They followed up with the third. Just, I'm really proud of our guys, the way we played in the third period. Seemed like we found a little bit more in our game, but give those guys credit. Good experience for our group to see how good of a team it takes to win. But yeah, obviously a tough one. You never want to end the year on a loss at home, so a little disappointing for sure.
Andrew, they obviously came out of the gates pretty fast. They had a lot of pressure, especially early on. Do you think it took your guys a little while to kind of adapt and then get used to that style of play, especially after the way Windsor played last week?
Yeah, we felt that we were in tough. They were coming hard. They were really detailed in their O-zone too, very skilled. I thought honestly up until probably the third period, we started to find ourselves a little bit more. Played kind of a speed game that we needed to play to keep up with them. Obviously it was too late. I thought in the second period though, we had that one kill. Seemed like we had momentum on the bench, and then obviously they scored that, so that was a tough one. But yeah, that they came strong as advertised. We knew they were going to be good. Thought Christian Chichigoy was unbelievable to keep us in it. But yeah.
Maybe talk about his performance tonight, especially being a rookie goalie in that first period. I think 20 shots on net in the first, and you guys scoreless. Maybe just talk about the performance he's had today.
Yeah, he was outstanding, and honestly, it didn't surprise me. He's the type of goalie that can play at this level, play at a high level, as good as anybody in the country. Yeah, he's been good all year along with Max and Brock, so we expected him to play that good.
In the first and second period, it seemed even a bit like a mismatch. Was Concordia that much better, or did your team really not play one of their better games?
Yeah, Concordia is really good, very good team. I didn't think we executed great in the first half. I give them credit though, they're a really good team. I thought we could have been better in some areas, but give them a lot of credit. They're a top team.
What was your message to the team in the dressing room after the game tonight?
Yeah, it's just how proud I am that I had the opportunity to coach such a great group. I know, see how hard they play night in, night out, but just a really good group of guys. And I think for the guys coming back, it's a good learning experience of what it's going to take to win these types of games and compete with the top teams in the country.
This is your seventh or eighth year coaching the head coach of the team?
Oh, this is my fourth.
Okay. You're a
Yeah.
coach before
Yes,
that. Okay,
yes.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So what did it mean to you to win Coach of the Year?
Yeah, it's an honor for sure. There's lots of good coaches in our division. I think it's definitely a team award. We have such a great group. Every day is an awesome experience with this group. They work so hard and have such a great staff. luckily have a guy like Jeremy Aduno as my associate. He's outstanding. He's such a good head for the game, and then the rest of the staff with Biss and Murray and Kari, and just the support I get from Lakehead University and my boss. It's been outstanding. So it's definitely a team award.
You have a number of first and second year players who had really, really strong seasons for you. How do you feel this team's position looking ahead to next year?
Yeah, no, our young guys have been great. I think we looked at the end of last year not making playoffs, and we were happy with the group that we had coming back, and obviously adding guys like Josh and Keegan and Olivier and Christian. I think we're only going to be better, and definitely excited. But again, good test to see what a top 5 team looks like, and I think if we play the way we did in the third, we can move forward with that.
All right, Christian, what's your emotions coming out of that game?
There's a lot of them. It's kind of hard to pinpoint one. I'm just so proud of everyone. As a young guy coming in, I've just learned so much from all the old guys and all the graduates, so I just want to say thank you to all of them. And we've really had a special team this year, and we're satisfactory of what we've accomplished. Obviously, we didn't get what we wanted truly in the end, but we're so proud of each other, and we learned a lot this year.
You faced a lot of shots tonight. I guess you were probably hoping your team would get more shots at the other end.
I'm just trying to do my job as they're trying to do theirs. We always have faith no matter what the shot count is or anything like that. We're just trying to get pucks in deep and just try and get one more in than they do. And tonight it just didn't happen, but we'll learn from that and move forward.
Christian, that first period, it seemed like the Concordia came out really fast and were putting a lot of pressure on your players. Just what was your mindset through that period?
Every game remains the same for me, as it does for every single player. It's just do our job and trust each other to do their job. And obviously they were coming on with some pressure, but we weathered the storm early and we stuck in there. Unfortunately, things didn't end up the way we wanted to go tonight.
When you joined this program, did you imagine in year one you'd be playing in a game like this with a national championships berth at stake?
Obviously, with the mindset that our coach has, and all of our coaches had, and our leadership group, we thought that anything was possible. From the very get-go, we exceeded expectations right away from the media and stuff like that, but internally, our end goal was to always win the championship, so unfortunately we couldn't do that this year, but we're going to learn from this and move forward.
Thanks very much.
Awesome, thank you.
Just for you being a Thunder Bay player, getting to play in front of a sold-out crowd like this, and then last weekend, what does that mean to you?
It's special for sure, just from being a little kid watching it to being able to play in it now. It's definitely very surreal, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity and just embracing the moments because these don't last forever, so it's exciting.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Word for Word. We'll be back again tomorrow with more interviews from across the Northwest.